What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Behavioral Arts. My name is Spidey, and I use my degree in sociology and psychology, my certifications in criminal interrogation and body language analysis, and my experience as an award-winning mentalist to teach people behavioral analysis and practical psychology on stages and television shows all over the world. Earlier this month at Paris Fashion Week, Meghan Markle went viral twice in the same day. First for an awkward exchange with the creative director of Balenciaga, and then for a burst of laughter during the fashion show which spoke volumes non-verbally. But what do the body language and facial expressions during these two viral moments reveal? Let's dive right in. Okay, so we're gonna start with the moment where she's sitting in the fashion show and watching next to Marcus Anderson. And there isn't really sound, and it's not very important because what we see with the nonverbal communication here is something that you could see a lot out in the real world. And when you learn to recognize these little clues, you start to be able to pick up on what these individuals are experiencing in moments like this, even if no one says a word. So the first thing you'll notice is if we look at the crowd, at first, they're all kind of moving at the same rate. So presumably, they're watching the models on the runway. And then something noteworthy happens because Meghan just bursts into laughter. But it's not just any laughter. You can, from a distance, distinguish between different kinds of laughter. This isn't the kind of laughter you would see at a comedy show where something funny is said and people just kind of kick back and laugh at whatever's being said. You'll notice that she realizes something because the first thing we see is the mouth going down into this ooh shape. So it's hard to tell from a distance, especially because we can't hear, if she's going ooh like this or maybe whistling like look at that, but something gets her attention because we see that in the lips. And then immediately after that, notice how she laughs. A few things happen. First, the shoulders come up as she leans forward and her mouth opens up as there's almost this like this, and the eyebrows go up at the same time. Very important. This eyebrow flash, along with a couple of other things we're seeing, is really interesting because it is not an identifying feature of laughter. Not everyone raises their eyebrows when they laugh, and not every type of laughter has this raising of the eyebrows. So the next time you're in a setting where a lot of people are laughing, like a comedy club is a good example, take a look around. Some people will be laughing and their eyebrows will go up, but this is very commonly in a social laughter. Like I'm looking around with my eyebrows up, trying to connect with people. You might also see the eyebrows go up if the comedian says something shocking or surprising and the person's taken aback while they're laughing. And we'll talk about why that happens in a moment, but in a lot of cases, the person might just kick back and laugh while the eyebrows stay neutral, or very commonly when we laugh, we close our eyes as we're laughing, and commonly the eyebrows might even go down with that. So it's not all laughter that has the eyebrows go up. So what do eyebrows going up or eyebrow flashes actually indicate when you see them in real world interactions? My regular viewers know that I pay a lot of attention to eyebrows because there's a lot of great research on them, and whether I'm reading people on stage or in interview rooms, I find them very reliable. So whenever you see those eyebrow flashes, most commonly they indicate one of three things. The first one is emphasis. Everywhere in the world, we emphasize important things with the eyebrows. In fact, you might even see the voice go up with those eyebrows. The second place you'll commonly see it is in some kind of social exchange or social approval, when we're connecting socially. So in a greeting, very commonly the eyebrows go up, or in a shared experience, you might look at someone like, this is good, right? Like we're connecting over this thing. And finally, the third place you'll see it universally is with surprise. Everywhere in the world, when we're surprised, the eyebrows go up. This isn't conscious, it's innate to all humans. In fact, with surprise, everything opens up because surprise is a state of assessment. We're trying to figure out how to react, so we want to take in as much information as we can. And surprise also lasts a very short amount of time. We typically go from surprise to laughter, from surprise to fear, from surprise to sadness. So whatever it is, it's a quick assessment and then we react. And in the case of Meghan Markle at that fashion show, that's exactly what it is. That is surprise. And it has all the telltale markers and even a few bonus ones. So you'll notice, first of all, on the face, we see the mouth drop open like this as the eyebrows go up. And there's a really important distinction between the way our mouth opens with fear and surprise, because they look very similar. With fear, the eyes open up, the eyebrows might go up, but the lips typically go more back, like this, and we're taken aback with fear. With surprise, it's more downwards like this. Even if you look at the emojis that we use, that's the surprise one. Another thing that happens in that moment is very common with both fear and surprise, and it's the fact that the shoulders pop up and forward a little bit like this. This happens in fear and it happens in surprise as well because we're protecting ourselves. We don't really know what's going on with both surprise and fear. We're trying to assess, we're scared of something, we're surprised of something, and we might have to defend ourselves. And when we get defensive, we block all the vital areas of the body. That's the wrists, the neck, and all the organs over here. We close in to protect these parts of the body, so this is very common. The other thing that we have is the head popping forward like this, with all the other signs at the same time. Now, this is not universal, but it's much more indicative of surprise than fear, because with fear, we back up. So with fear, we're scared of something, want to put distance between us and that thing, so it's much more common to back up. Surprise can go either way. Sometimes we're surprised and we go like this, like we want to get a little closer to assess better, but sometimes we are taken aback and surprised by something. So it's not universal, and you won't always see the head moving forward. There's a lot more important indicators on the face, that mouth, the eyebrows, but very commonly in a cluster of surprise, we do see that head pop forward like this. And then we see something that is very common with both surprise and laughter, because again, the surprise is just a quick second, and then she goes to laughter, and we see her hand come up and block the mouth. And this is very common all over the world in social situations, whether there's a camera or a big group of people, that with any emotion where the mouth opens up, we have this reflex of bringing the hand up to block the mouth. There are both genetic and social reasons that we do this. Socially, because it's kind of rude to be hanging out in public with your mouth hanging open, but genetically also because an open mouth is a vulnerability, and we, by reflex, hide vulnerabilities. So whether it's with surprise or with a lot of happiness, some people laugh and they hide their mouth. In sadness, sometimes people hide their face or their mouth. It's very common anytime the mouth opens for us to bring the hand up and block it. The next thing that happens is very common in a situation where someone's laughing, but what's happening around her is not that common and contributes to why this feels really awkward. So again, this is something that a lot of the media that's covering this missed, because a lot of them said that she started laughing and immediately turned to look at Marcus. That's not true. If you'll notice, at first, she kind of scans to the left because it's the natural way. More people are looking towards the left in that moment. It's the natural way to look to see more of a crowd, and out of her peripherals, she sees that no one's really matching her with this laughter. So whatever it is that she found funny, people aren't sharing that reaction with her in this moment. So very, very often, laughter is a social moment. When we find something funny, we laugh and we very much look around to see, okay, everyone finds this funny, we're connecting over this funny thing. Now, when we laugh and we see some people aren't laughing, we might continue to look for someone that we could connect with on this, okay, we both find this funny, even if not everyone does, which is exactly what happens there. Notice how at first as she's laughing, there's a slight shift to the left like this. She notices no one else is, so she shoots over to Marcus quickly. It's not a slow ha ha ha, ha ha ha. It's ha ha, oh no, and she turns to him. And she's hoping that, okay, we're gonna connect here on, he's gonna laugh with me or he's gonna save me in this moment, but that doesn't happen. Now here's the other really interesting note about this type of situation, right? If I'm with a friend and they're laughing and I find the thing that they're laughing at funny, we're both gonna laugh, we're gonna connect, we'll be like, yeah, that was funny. If I don't find the thing that my friend is laughing at funny, in a lot of cases, you'll still see the person turn to their friend, acknowledge them with some kind of a smile or something to be like, it's okay, I'm here with you, just to reduce that awkwardness. But in this case, the reaction that Marcus gives amplifies the awkwardness because he doesn't even look away from where he's looking. He doesn't even smile at all. It's not like, okay, yeah, you find it funny, we're connecting in this moment. He keeps looking forward, and some people might think he didn't really notice or he didn't acknowledge. He knows what's going on because he nods like this, in this kind of jittery nod while keeping his attention forward. And this is very, very common in situations where we think something is inappropriate and we just want to move on from it. The best way to describe it is that it's acknowledgement without approval. So approval is somebody tells me something and I acknowledge and approve, right? I turn to them and I engage. But think of a situation where someone is chewing someone's ear off about something they're not that interested in. They may not turn to them and kind of keep that conversation going. They might stay forward like this and just say, yeah, can we just move on to the next thing? Or someone who's maybe trying to watch a TV show or a movie and someone's talking to them and they don't give them the attention. They just keep, yeah, whatever. Because it's like, yeah, my attention is here. My focus is here. It has that jittery nod, very common with those types of scenarios. Okay, so we've noticed something, went to surprise, then immediately laughter. looked around, noticed no one is joining us on this laughter, turned this way for help, didn't get it, and behaviorally what happens next is really fascinating and can really allow you to non-verbally see what someone is experiencing emotionally. But before we talk about it, do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on for more behavioral analysis and practical psychology content. Okay, so to understand what happens next behaviorally, we have to have a bit of an understanding of Meghan Markle. So I think it's safe to say that Meghan Markle has what's often referred to in pop culture as main character energy. And that's not an insult, by the way, it's just an observation. I think whether you're a fan of Meghan Markle or not so much, I think saying that she has main character energy is very well justified. And it also aligns very much with her life. She went from being an actress to being in the public spotlight at all times. She starred in documentaries. She's constantly on stages, constantly doing interviews on camera. And although I'm not claiming that every single person who's a public figure loves the spotlight even when they're not working, when that's your job for a long period of time, stages, screens, cameras, you kind of get used to people following your energy. So when you react, people around you react as well. That's how it works on sets. I've been on dozens and dozens of sets when the person on camera is, in position and the whole crew is around and they have their assistants and producers. Usually when that person in front of the camera reacts to something, says something funny, laughs at something, everyone kind of follows that energy. It kind of creates like a really nice, we're all working together on this project. So this is an odd situation for her. She doesn't have a surrounding with her. Usually her husband's with her. He's not here. So she's kind of in a setting where she's not surrounded by a production team. Usually in those settings, I'm sure 9 times out of 10, she's used to when she laughs, people around her also laugh, just to kind of match that energy. But in this case, it's not happening. In fact, the people on her left seem pretty unaware of her reaction. So she notices that really, really quickly, right? Uh-oh, not happening here. Let me turn to the guy I do know. No, not happening there either. And we see that laughter just wipe away from her face. And it's not just that. It's not just that the laughter goes away. Notice what happens to her hand. Her hand was up here in front of her mouth, goes down over here near the neck and does something we call neck guarding. This is one of the most reliable signals of discomfort, especially when you see that change, right? I'm not saying like someone was just sitting like this for a while. It might be, but I'm talking about someone in a conversation or an interaction, the hand is elsewhere, and in a moment where you're seeing some other behaviors, that hand comes to the neck like this, like this, like this. Anything like this, we are protecting a very vulnerable part of the body. Another thing we see in that moment is taffy eyes. So notice how she doesn't turn away from Marcus like this. Her head turns away as her eyes stay on him, and then they turn away as well. This is her holding on to a little bit of hope that, okay, no, I'm not, okay, I'll just, and then she breaks it off. So we're going from that laughter to, are you gonna laugh? No, you're not, okay, and then, so I won't laugh either. This is something that I'm very familiar with because I come from this world. Most of my career was in entertainment. On stages, television shows, I've consulted on movies, interviews, talk shows, you name it. And this is something that I've seen very, very commonly when someone who has main character energy realizes that in this scenario, they're not the main character. So there's some kind of reaction where they're expecting something, they don't see it, and it just wipes off, and they immediately, to adapt, match what everyone else is doing. And even in this case, it's a quick snap. It's that realization and going, okay, damn, I'm just gonna go right back to what we were doing before. Because this little thing didn't work here, we're just gonna erase it, we're just gonna remove it and go right back to the way things were before. That's why we're seeing very jolty movements, right? It's not this, ha ha ha, okay, whatever, nobody found that funny except for me. It's, ha ha, oh no, oh no, oh no, let's just go back to what it was before, let's erase everything that just happened. Let's take a quick moment to talk about what it is she's reacting to. So, a few sources have stated, and I'm not sure where this information came from, that she was reacting to a model who tripped or who kind of slipped up for a moment. However, those sources are unverified, and other sources have said that there wasn't a model who at any point tripped or slipped up or anything like that. So, is it possible? Yes, it's possible. But if we look at the people around her, I would say it's a little unlikely. And the reason for that is that they're all looking in the same direction. Imagine if a model did fall or slip or something happened. You wouldn't see laughter all around, but you might see something somewhere, like something you go, oh, or concern or looking like, oh my God, what just happened? It doesn't really seem like anyone around her, or at least the majority of people around her, are reacting to anything. So what she's reacting to is something that either only she saw, which would be unlikely if it was a model, because that's what people are doing there. They're watching the models, or it's something that only she finds funny. So what it is, I'd love to know. It could be that something happened with a model, but based on the lack of reactions of the people around, I wouldn't put all my money on that. All right, so that's what's happening with this laughter moment. There are a lot of really, really reliable cues as to exactly what's going on. And now we're going to talk about this awkward greeting with the Balenciaga creative director, which a lot of people shared online and talked about her behaviors. But before we talk about that, I just want to say something that I often say in my videos, but I think it's really important, especially with topics like this, and especially because there are a lot of new viewers who watch my content and may not know. So historically, if you look at my content, you will find some videos where a lot of the comments are convinced. They think it's obvious that I love Meghan Markle. I'm a huge Meghan Markle fan. You will also find comments under those very same videos or other videos about her that find it extremely obvious that I despise Meghan Markle. I have been called both a Meghan Markle bully and a massive Meghan Markle supporter a lot in my comments. And the reason this happens is because I don't really care to form an opinion about this person as a character. That's not my job. When I'm reading people, I have only one job. It's to figure out what the person is thinking or feeling. That's it. It's not part of my job to figure out if this person's a good person or a bad person. I don't analyze character. I analyze behavior. That's all. When we study behavioral analysis, it's very strongly drilled into our heads to leave all opinion, judgment at the door. It doesn't belong in the analysis situation. All this to say, when I analyze Meghan Markle, just like any other case, I don't see a person that I have opinions of. I just see a human being behaving in a certain way, and I call out the behaviors as I would if it was anybody else in the world. So if you feel that you're seeing some kind of bias, that I either obviously hate her or obviously I'm defending her, I promise you I'm not. I'm objectively looking at behaviors and telling you what those likely indicate. Yes, sometimes in profiling, we make certain determinations on a person's behavioral characteristics. Like earlier I said she has main character energy, but that wasn't meant as an insult or as a compliment. That's still a behavioral observation based on watching her social interactions over the years. But I understand the nature of the internet and know that some people are only looking for hate and some people are only looking for love. And to those people, objectivity can look like love or like hate, but that's only because the middle looks extreme to the extremes. But I promise you, I'm just pointing out behaviors. That's all I do. All right, now let's talk about this other moment from that week where she got rinsed online for this really awkward moment that happened when she was greeting the creative director of Balenciaga, whose name is Pierpaolo Piccioli, and I hope I didn't butcher that. But as they're greeting, this really awkward thing happened. So first, let's start by talking about the starting position to try to figure out what's going on. So the first kiss on the right cheek, that went well. And you'll notice if you look at her hand, she's holding on to her clutch, her purse, and it's resting up against him. And he's got his left hand cupping her elbow. So this suggests some kind of comfort or proximity, right? Typically, when we're not comfortable with people, we don't cup things, we don't hold things. We might have our fingers closed in a little bit more, a little distant, might be like a little pat or something. But in this case, he's close and his hand is gripping on to her elbow. Now, to understand what happens next, we have to keep in mind that both these individuals, because of their jobs and their lives, are very well traveled. And the reason I say that is because I come from a very multicultural part of the world. I live in French-speaking Canada, so Quebec, but Montreal, where I was raised, is very multicultural. There's people from all over the world who live here. And in greeting, I've seen it all. There are some people who just go in for a hug. Some people do the two kisses. That's very common, especially amongst French-speaking people. La bise, mwah, mwah. Sometimes it's three. There are certain Europeans or even some Arabic countries that might do mwah, mwah, three. There are some that do just one. Again, from certain Middle Eastern countries, just one, like this. And sometimes you touch, sometimes it's just more of like an air thing. So I've seen every variation that you can imagine. And sometimes you just don't know. Even if you get that first kiss in, you don't know where the rest of it is supposed to go. So on that fact alone, I'm going to give both of them a little bit of compassion here because I've seen that situation a lot. I've been in that situation a lot. And believe me, it's very awkward. But if you really look at it really slowly, the awkwardness isn't necessarily coming from her. I would say it's coming a little bit more from him because they do the first kiss like this, and now she goes the other way like this. So typically when you greet someone and they go the other way, you follow that cue and you go here. But he doesn't. I don't know if it's because he doesn't see it or he's just kind of thoughtlessly just giving one kiss like this, to greet her. But he doesn't. As she's moving the other way, he kind of pulls back a little and also goes this way with her. So they're now both kind of going this way together. Then he realizes that, oh my God, she was going for a second kiss at the very same time that she goes, oh, I guess we're not doing the two thing. Let me go back this way. So now they both together go the other way. So this confusion has created this really awkward, so like, and like, it's just, there's nothing anybody can do. It's not intentional. It's not necessarily the lack of awareness of anybody. I know it's exciting to take this and transform it and blow it out of proportion to something that is purposeful or indicates something. It indicates just awkwardness. I've seen this happen thousands of times. But what I will have you notice is that throughout this, his hand stays there. So he does stay gripped onto her. And as he pulls back, he does something that she didn't get with Marcus when she was laughing at while they were watching the fashion show, which is the fact that he leans back, he looks at her, and he laughs. So remember earlier when we were talking about how when we're laughing and we look around, we're hoping to connect with someone? That's what I'm talking about. So here, he knows this was a little awkward, so he's holding on to her, he leans back, he even takes his right hand and puts it on top of her right hand like this to stay in this moment, and he kind of looks at her and laughs, just to acknowledge this awkward moment as opposed to this kind of, let's just move along from this thing. So in that other clip at the fashion show, this is the kind of thing she was hoping for when she turned to Marcus. Even if you're not laughing at the same thing I'm laughing at, just a pleasant acknowledgement that, we're connected in this moment. She got it here, she didn't get it in the other clip. So in conclusion, both of these clips went massively viral, and I know that when it comes to Meghan Markle, the internet has a tendency to make mountains out of molehills. But sometimes a mountain is actually a mountain. And in this instance, we have two different examples. I don't think that there's much to look into with this awkward kiss. I think that's all it is. It's an awkward greeting, and I've, again, seen it so many times. I've experienced it so many times. It's awkward as heck. Please believe me. But in the other one, I do think there are some very genuine things that we can look at that indicate that something awkward legitimately is happening, that is caused by behavior, not just this little trip up, this little awkward moment. It's caused by the fact that something happened that she found funny, first surprised, then funny, that nobody else did, and she looked around looking for someone to join her, didn't find it, and then shut it down immediately. I think that was a really good opportunity of actual analysis. And I know that some people are going to look at this analysis and go, no, that kiss was only awkward because she's a giant. And others are going to look at this and go, you leave her alone, even when she's trying to be super famous and constantly on camera, because there are people out there who just want to see evil or just want to see good. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to teach behavioral analysis and calling out stuff that I think are such great lessons in being able to read people in a social environment. But let me know in the comments what you think, and if you've been in situations like me where a greeting got really awkward because you didn't know what you're supposed to do with this person, and also in that clip where she's laughing at the fashion show, what it is you found the most interesting in her behaviors that gave something away for you to be able to read that situation. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you on the next one.